All right, guys, welcome back to Joe's Toolbox Exchange. Today, we're going to be looking at power lighted tops. These come in a couple different options, and we do have most of the options here, so I think it's a good time to make a video and kind of compare some of these things. For the comparison in this video, we're really just going to be looking at the 84-inch epics. This information does pertain to all the sizes, though. They make them in a 68, a 60. They make them in a couple different options for the epics. Most of this also applies to the master. So this one right here is going to be the color changing model. These were sold as like a special edition top. This is not something I believe you can even purchase regularly. And it's got a light up badge on it. The light up badge actually ties in to a power on the back of, or the underside rather, of the Bedline top. So you can't put this badge on top of any other box unless it has that PowerTop. They kind of are sold as a set. Another thing I want to point out is you can't buy the lighted badges either. They come in white and they come in red, and you can't get them. That's only sold on these limited edition boxes. They give them fancy names, and that's the only way you can get it. I think online I've seen them on eBay sell for like hundreds of dollars. And if you even try to get one as a warranty item, because they will warranty it, they actually do require the old one back, which is pretty uncommon for a lot of parts of the boxes. You know, if you need to replace bumpers or something, a lot of times they don't care to have those. But if you actually want one of these lighted badges, you can't even get one as a warranty unless you send your old one back. So they're really controlling the supply of these things. And my guess is because they probably made a limited number of them, so it's not like an infinitely produced thing. Maybe they have stock of like a couple thousand in a warehouse, and they will try to have a warranty replacement forever, but it's not something you can adapt to a box you already have. And then the lighted tops are sort of similar. You can't just go out and purchase those. So to compare these, it's a little bit hard to give pricing because both of these models are actually discontinued or not available. If you want to come down here, we can show on this screen what it actually looks like now. The list price of the current model is $2,500, $2,515 to be exact. And this is going to be the top for a 84-inch epic. You can tell by their part numbers, this 84 right here is an 84-inch epic, and then it's going to be a Bedline at the end, that's BL, and then with that, this power is this P. So it's going to be an 84-inch epic power top. You can see now they have a different button on them, and they also only have a power bank on one side. They used to have a power bank on both. This was just discontinued in the past 12 months, or rather, this was started in the past 12 months, and those old ones were discontinued. Everything else is going to be pretty much the exact same, besides the power adapter now has USB-Cs, and they went away from that style that will look on the tops over there. In fact, we can just pull one because we have a loose one sitting here. This is the exact same as what they have on top of their current models, and you can see they had this little patented design which would stagger the 120 volt plugs back and forth. The only downside of this was most big chargers, like if it has an adapter on it, like a DC power adapter for lights or something, they wouldn't actually fit. But if you had a standard, you know, plug, you could kind of interface 5 into a super compact space. I don't really know why they did this design because it's not really like an issue to have a bigger power bank with them slightly spread out, but this is what they went with, and it had the two USBs on there, but not the new style USB-Cs. So they think they kind of corrected this on the new model. It's spread them out. They have 3 down, 1 up, and then 1 to the right. So you can kind of fit them a little bit better. The power bank is much larger, and then it's USBs on the top with USB-Cs on the bottom, and then it's got the breaker switch, which is basically the same as the current one. So now that we mentioned that, we can come down here and look at these. $2,500 was around the list price of these before they switched over to that model, and they are cool. So we're going to start off with probably just the stock one. We'll come down here and look at this. This is what was most commonly sold. We have sold tons and tons of power tops that are lighted, and this is what they were. So they have the 84, they're the exact same. This is the same power bank as we just looked like. It's just, they call it a double doghouse power supply. That's what they call it. It's got the little breaker, 2 USBs, 5 power strips, and it's kind of at a slight tilt so you can make it easier to unplug. If you come down here, it has a button on the side. You can tell it's a non-color changing model. So if you're shopping for one of these and you're at some guy's house and you're just looking at it trying to figure out what does he have, if it presses in and stays in, it's a non-color changing option. If it presses in and pushes right back out immediately, it's a color changing option. So if you turn it on, you can see the button lights up, it turns red, and the button's actually depressed, and then you press it again, it pops out. You know it's a non-color changing option. You can tell the badges are non-color because it's just a stock badge, or non-lighted rather, but it does do a great job. If you want to step back so you can see how well it illuminates it, we'll kill the lights here so you can see in a dark room or a darkish room what it would give you. I mean, most shops are not going to be pitch black, but even if your shop was dark, pitch black. You can still see in there extremely well. They kind of have them at a tilt, so it doesn't get the very front of the drawer on the top ones, and then for the very bottom ones, it doesn't get the very back. You know, it has a little bit, a couple inches on the back it doesn't hit, but it really does do, I mean, a super good job of brightening it all up. You can see everything really easy, and it's kind of a cool addition. It doesn't cost much to add the light to a top, and on the resale market, it really only adds like a couple $100. So, you know, if you're patient, I would probably wait for a lighted top. They, I think, give quite a bit of benefit for a small amount of money. They have a little adapter on the back if you want to come show this. This is how it works. This is power to the power drawer. This is power to the top. You have a 120 volt outlet right here, an output. This is your inverter. So you're getting, you know, this is AC and you're trying to get DC, lights run on DC, and it plugs in. I also want to mention this. These get lost all the time or broken because they hang off and they'll get cracked out. These are weird. I've seen a lot of guys toast these. Almost all lights are going to run on a 24 volt DC output. These are a 12 volt DC output. So this is really unique. And a lot of guys will plug in like a 3 amp 24 volt because those are common. You have them laying around your shop and it'll fry the top, and that's a huge issue. So if you lose one of these, you can purchase these cheap on Amazon for like 10 bucks. But you want to have 12 volt and you want to have 3 amp. We buy these all the time. So 12 volt, 3 amp. That's really what you need. That's going to be the replacement, the OEM or, you know, direct swap for the Snap-on. Don't try to throw a higher voltage in there like 24. It's not meant to take it. So that is what it looks like. So we're going to come down here next to the lighted one that is going to be RGB or color changing. This one has a slightly different texture on it. It's hard to describe, but it's a lot more aggressive. It's more intense. You'll feel it's more like a Bedline on a truck. That one's more smooth. It's almost got like a minimally textured top. So I don't know what the difference is, but you can really see it in this one. You know, it's almost flat. It has a super small abrasion to it, where this one's really aggressive. I don't know what the difference is, but Snap-on has had a huge problem with these things peeling, and they've tried to remedy it a couple times. So my guess is they're just continuing to try to develop that product. These are a lifetime warranty product to the original purchaser, so when they peel out, they have to warranty it, and that's a huge item to warranty. They do want the old one back. So over the years, they had an extremely aggressive texture that peeled really bad. That's really where the problem began in the first production of the Bedline tops. Most of those have been warranted. You'll see them on Marketplace peeling all the time. You'll get a chip, and then it'll just spread in a matter of weeks to the whole top falling apart. These models, I've not seen any problems with, you know. If they get a little chip, I would do whatever I could to try to patch it. If you get one of these and get a chip, try to get some like epoxy back on that spot so it just doesn't want to get moisture under it, or, you know, other chemicals and eventually separate. But overall, I haven't seen problems with any of these new models. And I used to be able to tell the new models by looking at them and seeing they had that more of a shine and less of an aggression just by feeling it. But on the new ones, they're more aggressive again. So it gets a little bit tricky to even figure out, you know, short of running the date code on the back to figure out what year they were produced. This one, when you turn it on, we got it set on white, and down here, you're going to see the badge lights up. So it's pretty cool. We'll kill the lights to make it a bit more noticeable. And we'll show what the app looks like. So if you come over here on the button itself, when you turn it on, I think it's 2 short presses. So there's red, orange. This is like a yellowish. You have green, blue, dark blue, purple, pink, and then here I think it's doing some sort of color changing with the red. That's back to white. And then you'll see the badge always stays white. I'm going to do a screen mirroring here so you guys can see what the app actually looks like. But this is the app. If you had multiple tops, you could connect to each of them, or multiple different, you know, options for the RGB stuff. So this one here is going to be that. And then you can, you know, turn the lights off or turn the lights on from the app. You can also adjust the brightness. So we'll turn it down if you don't want it so intense. And then if it's all the way down, it's kind of cool. Still has like a little bit of a glow to it, but it's not, you know, it's not actually useful. And then all the way up. At this bottom, you're going to see this logo mode. If you turn the logo mode on, it's just going to light up the badge. This is a pretty cool feature. You know, if you just want to leave your box lit up, but you don't want that light blinding you, you can just have the badge light up. It's pretty cool. This is how I would leave it in my shop if I wasn't using my box, like at night. You know, it looks good in the garage like this. And then You turn logo mode off and the lights turn back on. They also have this feature, which is going to be a color changing, and it goes between all of the colors. I have a lot of different, lights and apps and LEDs and stuff around the shop. Most of them are a little bit more option friendly, I would say. You can decide if you want to do, alternate purely between red and blue or something. This app cannot do it. All you're stuck with is what color do you want. You can do quick changes in the app to the different colors if you want to, just have it stuck there. And once again, you can dim the brightness of any color, but you can't choose the alternating colors. You can do all alternating colors, and you can change it to pretty slow. So every 199 seconds, so every 200 seconds, it's going to switch between the colors. It's not very quick, but you can also put it way down if you just want to, get between colors pretty quick. And there is one. So you can see here, it's now going between all the colors. It's like a little disco. This gives you an idea of, the different options that you can do. Most guys set it to a solid color. Most guys use white, but it is kind of a cool feature. It gives your box a little bit different color on it. I don't know how many guys are actually utilizing the color changing. Most times I go into a shop and I see them using it. They have it set to some corresponding color to their box. So, if their box is like black with red trim, most of the time you're going to see it on that, snap-on red color, which is pretty cool. But it doesn't help out nearly as much. But I guess if you don't want to lose your night vision, you're working outside, maybe the red light would be a benefit because it doesn't have the same effect on your eyes, and your eyes don't dilate. So maybe that's some feature you could use, and it does kind of brighten it up a little bit. But overall, most people, like I said, are just going to use white or leave it on a solid color. It does have a few options, but it's not like a lot of other brands where you can really get into the weeds. While we're talking about the color changing tops, Matco's now comes standard with this, which is interesting. I think this is one spot that Matco has kind of excelled in, is their 6S's are just going to come with a light no matter what. Like, it's not even an option to get it without anymore. So Snap-on's kind of like, a little gatekeeping on this. You have to buy some rare limited edition, 1 of 100 or something like that to even get some of these features, where Matco's saying you're getting it no matter what, even if you don't want it. It's just included, built into the price. And it has a remote that's also cool. So it has a little magnetic remote, so you can click it in the inside of your drawers. You don't have to get your phone out to change it, and you can just set it from the remote. What colors do you want to do? And it's a little bit user-friendly, more user-friendly than having to, I think, download an app to try to change your colors. But they do give you the button if you just want to, get it set. But for instance, you can't do just the badge or can't change brightness settings or anything just from the button. The app works fine. It's just another thing, I think, as we're moving towards. It's annoying to see you have to download an app just to, select what brightness level I'm trying to put onto my $20,000 toolbox. It is what it is. It's a cool feature. I just wish it was more common and probably stock. Like on that new model we looked at the very beginning, you can't even get the color changing in it. And I don't know why. It's not like it costs that much difference. It's probably a difference of like $7 to have RGB LEDs versus white. So once again, I think it's just a way for Snap-on to kind of give some rarity to some products and to try to, encourage just new purchases of these limited runs, which is in recent years how Snap-on has been moving towards a lot of these boxes. We saw it with their anniversary box, the American flag epic, the red, white, and blue. We saw it with that. That obviously performed extremely well for Snap-on. I can't get into any forum without one of those popping up every 24 hours and someone talking about what number they got. I understand that has a big appeal to people, and those boxes, had a red badge, I believe, on them, but I could be wrong. The Cloud 9 boxes, once again, I think was the introduction of this. They had a red badge, and that was where I think you first started seeing a lot of people going crazy for that lighted badge. I mean, I wish they just sold these separately, but once again, it's because they're trying to encourage you to, purchase a brand new box. The only way you can get that is by buying one of these limited ones, and there's none on the used market, so you're kind of forced into spending that, $16,000, $17,000. And it also gives your dealer a little bit more room to try to get you up on the price of the boxes. You can't really negotiate because the dealer can't get another one. So on a lot of stuff, if a dealer will sell you something at a lower price, he doesn't really care, because as long as he gets the sale, that's a little money in his pocket, and then boom, he can just reorder it and sell it again if somebody else wants it. But on these boxes, he can't get another one, so it's just like the price is what the price is, and that's used a lot in the selling tactics. This is like a one limited edition. I can't get another one, so if you don't want to buy it, someone else will, and that kind of drives up the overall price of the top. So I think that's just something to note. I would pay a premium for it. I would, so I understand. If it was a grand more for a box that had the lights on it. I would pay a grand more for the RGBs and the lighted badge. I think it's cool, and I'm going to have a box like this for probably my entire life, so why not spend that initial money to, you know, get something a little bit cooler. So I appreciate you guys watching. That's pretty much everything I want to say. You know, we're not going to mention all the other tops. Like, this is just a straight top with no power at all on it. That's common too, but really I just wanted to focus on these. It's not very common. I get these color changing tops. I've only ever had 2, this being the second one. So figure we take the chance to make a quick video on this, give you guys a little bit better understanding of what these actually are and how they work. So I appreciate it as always, and I will see you guys again in the next video. Thank you.